So as we turn in our book to this page with the digestive system, and everybody in class knows this, like this page is a lot larger as far as like the main organs because there are more organs. And we didn't even list them all. We just are starting off with the basics of the digestive system, and it starts in your mouth. It starts with your teeth and your salivary glands, which kind of work together. Your salivary glands release this liquid into your mouth, and you know what that's like because as soon as you start thinking about your favorite food and you say your mouth starts to water, that's the salivary glands that are at work. They release this liquid that's very, very lightly, and I mean also slightly acidic, but it has enzymes in it that do break down your food. You use your teeth to grind that food up into smaller portions. I can't stress enough to you how important chewing your food thoroughly is to aid in the digestion of your food. Girls typically do a good job about this. Boys, we will take a Hot Pocket, bite it in half, and swallow one half, then swallow the other, and then we're like whole Doritos down the throat. That's not good for you. It's not. You need to stop and slow down and chew your food. There's another benefit to slowing down and chewing your food. If you don't eat so quickly and you slowly chew your food, it allows your body to realize that it's full and you don't overeat. And if you've ever eaten too much and had that stomach ache, or even worse, gotten sick after eating too much, you will realize that sometimes slowing down and chewing your food and actually enjoying it and eating is a lot more healthy. Once you are about to swallow it, your tongue does kind of act like a dump truck. It kind of picks up that food and dumps it down the esophagus. That's really kind of what it does. It keeps the food moving around and with the teeth while you're chewing, and then it kind of scoops it up into like a pile and dumps that down your esophagus, which is here. And the esophagus is the tube that takes the food from the mouth to the stomach. And that green part there, peristalsis, that's just what that wave-like movement is called. The way that your intestines, the way that your esophagus kind of squeezes and moves things from the top to the bottom. We'll get a chance to see that. I ordered a part for our smart board that's going to allow me to connect the iPad so that we can go through and watch all of the body processes with the body systems on the screen with this interactive website called Tiny Bob. I could probably teach the entire unit of body systems with just that app. It's that good. It's worth the $5 if your parents ask you. Trust me, it is. And the water cycle one's good too. Once the food gets into your stomach is loaded with acid. That acid has two main functions. Break the food down and kill any extra bacteria that might be in it. And this is kind of gross, but everything that you eat has got bacteria on it. It doesn't matter how hard you work. They're microscopic, Judah. There's billions of them. They're all over the place. They get there from many different means. Your stomach kills them. That's the main function, so it doesn't stay inside of you and get you sick. And if there happens to be too much of something while it's in your stomach picks up on that, sends a message to the brain and says, hey man, we really shouldn't digest this. It's not healthy. We got to get rid of it. And then we all know what that feeling is like. Not a lot of fun. Once the food is in the stomach, it eventually moves into the small intestine. When it's in the small intestine removes the nutrients. When she gets close, look and see if she has goosebumps on her arm that she's talked about all day. It removes the nutrients, and it puts those nutrients into your bloodstream. That's very important, Kagan, because when you get those nutrients into your bloodstream, it allows your body to grow, to use energy, to repair itself if it happens to be injured. And those things are important. Eventually, it dumps that into the large intestine where your body removes some of the water from that, and the rest of that is waste, and then that comes out the other side as it travels through your body. So over the next few slides, just sit and listen if you're in class. It's going to be a repeat of the notes that we just copied down off of that chart. We're just going to go through it rather quickly. It starts when you just even start thinking about food. It's about 15 minutes before lunch and you start thinking, man, I can't wait to start eating, and your mouth starts watering. The water in your saliva has a very light amount of acid, but it does have enzymes that will break down the food as you chew it. While you're chewing, your teeth are breaking that up into tiny pieces. And as Kaylee reminded us, it is very important to chew your food thoroughly because that aids in digestion. Your teeth break down the food. That's one of the first parts of digestion. Your tongue kind of moves those things around, and it moves the food into the esophagus. The esophagus is a tube that moves from our mouth to our stomach. We'll talk about what happens here when we watch the video with that epiglottis. If that flap doesn't close properly, sometimes you get choked, and we all kind of laughed and said we've done that before. We say it went down the wrong pipe, but it doesn't really go down that way. Your epiglottis is not closed properly, and when your body feels something trying to go that way, it immediately starts making you cough. One of those involuntary reactions. The next stage is the stomach. The stomach is very important. Your food stays in there for about 4 to 6 hours, so the stuff that we ate at lunch, still in there, being churned, being digested, being doused with acid, so it's killing any bacteria that may have been on there. If you ate yogurt today, you ate some healthy bacteria that actually lives through that, and then it gets into your intestines and stays there. It lives there. Healthy bacteria hanging out in your gut. It does. Not joking. It's very good for you. The first part is the small intestine. Juices from the liver and the pancreas are kind of injected in there as well, making that a really soupy mixture that you just chewed up. And as it flows through the small intestine, you have nutrients that are absorbed and moved into the bloodstream. Once those nutrients are moved into the bloodstream, that is moved around the entire body by the circulatory system, and your body is able to get the nutrients and proteins it needs in different parts of the body. The last stage is the large intestine. The large intestine, as Alex was telling us, is the stage where water is reabsorbed into the body, and then what's left over is waste, and we get rid of that waste when we use the bathroom. Digestive system, pretty easy, not too hard. Excretory system. As we take in liquids, we need a different system to filter those liquids and make sure that we keep the good stuff and get rid of the bad stuff. And that's going to be our excretory system. Now, Braylon, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. There's not a lot of stuff going to be on the quiz and the test about this. It's going to be a very, very quick thing. It is a filtering system. And if we look at our notes, because if you notice, there's videos and that's it. All right? There's not a lot. So as I go through the excretory system, you have 3 main organs: the kidneys, the ureters, and the bladder. That's the 3 main organs: the kidneys, the ureters, and the bladder. I'm going to talk while you are writing notes. Then we'll pause and look at this and maybe watch a little bit of that video if we can. Your kidneys, as your blood flows through your kidneys, I wish we had time to get into the in-depth part of this unbelievable roller coaster action that it goes through in your kidneys. As it goes up and down through your kidneys, it's being filtered. Inside of your blood, there are good things. There are bad things. The bad stuff is like waste, things that we want to get rid of. Your kidneys filter that. Have you ever been to the beach and you take your scooper that has like all those little holes in it, you scoop in the sand, and then you run water through it to see what's left over, to see if you found any shark's teeth or really cool seashells? That's a filter. Your kidneys are similar. They let the good water continue to flow through. It does absorb a little bit of the water because you can't keep all of it in you. But it gets out the excess waste, the toxins, the stuff that's bad. As it's going through your kidneys and your kidneys decide this stuff is bad, it keeps that and it sends them through these 2 little tubes called the ureters. The ureters. Now, the ureters are like little tubes that travel with bad, when I say bad stuff, like waste liquid from the kidney to your bladder. And they start to drip, 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 fill up your bladder. So the ureters are just tubes from the kidneys to the bladder. It's not a big deal. Your bladder is there, and it expands and it stores urine, pee. As your bladder gets big enough, when it expands a certain point, it sends a message to your brain. And apparently some of us in this class get the same message at the same time every day in my class of, oh, I need to leave and use the restroom. And y'all know who you are. Right? I don't think that you're getting a message at the exact same time when I start taking notes. It's not a miracle. That's not how it works. You're getting out of work. But when your brain gets that message from your bladder that says, I have to go, we go to the bathroom. You can giggle all you want. It's a normal process. As your bladder contracts and flattens, that with some other muscles that, yes, you can control, push the urine out of your body. And then your bladder is back to its normal size, and your kidneys are continuing to do their job and filter out your blood to get all the waste liquids out and keep the good liquids in. Your bladder fills up again after a certain amount of time, and you use the restroom again. Is that an overly difficult description? It's not.